How y'all doing? Welcome back to the shop. Today we're working on some, I think these are pump valve parts, or another pump valve parts. And I think they go to valves that are actually used on offshore drilling rigs. So we're going to start by prepping everything up. We have multiples of each to do, but I'm just going to show you one of each thing that we're working on today. So of course, I always start out by prepping the steel. These are good and clean, the rod's clean. I've got to knock the scale off of these just so that we can ensure a good looking proper weld on everything. So here we go. Get a good view so you can understand what we're doing. You see this scale, or that's the impurities that's baked off during the process of making the steel. So we want to take and just shine that up, get that scale out of the way. So that's one less thing you're fighting. You know, whenever you start to weld it up, you want to make sure that you give yourself every advantage that you can. So, you know, it just makes life easier on you. Check the blueprint, see where we need to be. And this is a multi-step process when we do these jobs. We do this with Sabre machine, and we'd already welded this piece on at their shop. So that's welded on, then they drill everything out, and then they'll machine the groove, and I'm thinking it's a large O-ring that goes there to seal it. And so everything works out in multiples. You know, we go there and we weld these pieces out, and then they send them back to us, and when we get done with that, they are good to go and ready to be assembled and shipped. And all that looks really good. And then on this end we have a little knuckle piece that's just a slip bit. So slide that on, tack it up. Now we're going to set up and get everything tacked down into position. Double check it, triple check it. Make sure we're good all the way, because the worst thing you can do is put it together, get started, and it's not right. So, especially after you don't want to discover that after you weld that up. It takes all the fun out of it. That's good. With everything being machined as tight as the tolerances are, once you slip it on, it's pretty well going to hold itself good and square, but we are going to double check that. So we're going to sew this one up and move on to our next. When we set all this up on our rolling stands, it just makes life a lot simpler, a lot easier to do the weld out. Turn you guys, get a full view on that. That's it for that one. We're going to clean this one up, and then I'll set up, do the rest of them, and then I'll bring you guys back when I start on a different part, so you're not just sitting here watching the same part over and over. But these are pretty basic to do. Like I say, we do a lot of it in stages, especially when you work with machine shops on different projects. You may have to do things in stages, so it's easier for them to machine and prep it up in order to get ready for the final assembly and the fabrication part of it. So I'm going to do a few more of these, and then I'll bring you guys back when we start on the next piece. So our next two items we got to build for our customer are hand wheels, and what this is it just locks on, and they hand crank up to open and close the valve. So I've got our parts already marked. We've got to bend these over to a 90, and then the rest of the studs just stick out straight. So we're going to make the bend here, make sure we get them good and square, and then we'll move on to the next part of it. We're going to heat them up, getting ready. And the key on this is to heat everything up real even, and don't force it, because a lot of times you'll see people have been something like this and it actually has a crack in it or a break. It's just they got in too big of a hurry. So don't force it, let the heat do its job, and you should be able to pretty easily pull it over. When I was young, I would have already grabbed the hose of this and tried to force it. But with maturity, you realize that you can do anything you used to do, but it hurts a lot more and takes longer to get over. Now I just take my time, let the heat do the work. And when it's time, I'll start moving on. Don't be in a real big hurry when you're bending. Trying to make sure you keep it nice and red. So that you don't cause any fractures or anything, and let it relieve. That'll keep from busting it up or causing any cracks. This is 3/4 inch cold roll bar also. Hot roll will be a little easier. The cold roll is a lot stronger. It makes a nice finish part also. That looks good. Good and square, that's what we want. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, so we're going to let these parts cool. And to cool my parts, I always either put them in front of a fan. I have a blower fan that blows at a real fast pace, and I cool them that way. I never throw anything in a bucket of water. Cools it, tempers it too fast, and can cause it to fracture. So I'm not a firm believer in doing that, especially on cold flat. Now some of your mild steels, it really doesn't matter. But even at that, I always put it in front of the fan. I just like that better. I'd rather bring it down slow and save the integrity of the metal than to be in such a big hurry that, you know, I take a chance of hurting anything. You'll notice that just about all of my tables, with the exception of my fabrication table, have everything mounted on wheels. So I can pull it out and use it when I need to, and then get it out of my way when I don't need it any longer. You have a small shop. It's very key to be able to move around. We work on everything from $20 projects to $10,000 projects. So the more efficient we can be, the better, and the more we can be competitive with some of the larger companies. We're going to let the parts that we just heated and bent cool for just a minute. And what they'll do is they'll slide through, and we'll square them up. And then these just slide in until they touch. And then we'll tack everything up and weld them up. They're fairly simple to do. We've done, I can't even tell you how many we've done. But this is a repetitive, we do this every year, multiple times out of the year. And I don't know if they're adding on or if this is mainly for rebuild and restock. So, let me get my parts cooled off and ready. We'll let them, it's going to take however long it's going to take. And then we'll move forward and I'll bring you back in. Alright, we got our parts cooled off. That took all of maybe 5 minutes in front of a fan. So we got it ready. So these just slide in. I've already got one of them tacked up. Once you get that piece in, those will lock in. You just set your distance on it to match the other one. So it makes a nice looking clean part. Once you get that set up, I take my big square, lay it right off the table, and square up this handle. I want everything to look just nice and neat the way it should. Make a good looking part. We're just going to go through and tack everything off, weld it up. And then we are clean these up good and we'll be on to the next. I'm going to spray my nozzle right quick. I use this Weld nozzle spray. Some people use the gel that's in the can. I say either or. I've used them both. They both work really well. I like the spray. It's just a little cleaner. And you know, a lot of times if I'm worried about BB sticking or spatter sticking to my part, I'll actually spray it down with that also. Keeps everything nice and clean and makes your cleanup time a lot shorter. I always spray a little healthy shot in there and make it all clean up a lot easier. We'll include some close-up pics on the welds and everything so you can see how the parts look when we clean it up. We try and give a good quality clean up on everything. Probably the worst part on these is the cleanup. There's so many small little areas. That's probably the worst part of it, and it's not bad. But anyway, that's the way it looks when we get it complete. And then mount down on the valve, and that's what that handle is turned up for, so they can open and close the valve. We'll weld this one out. We'll be good to go. And that's it. Those shit done. Now I'm going to clean them up, prep them up, get everything looking good, and I'll bring you guys back to the next set.